Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to your podcast, Miles and Stories. And today we have a special guest. He's a man of God, he's a husband and a father, and he's a local runner from Jacksonville, Florida. Please let's welcome Mr. Paul Davis. How you feeling, man?
I'm great, Yanni. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first podcast, and so it's exciting. I'm glad to have the
Awesome.
opportunity.
No, I'm happy that you were able to make it. And like I said, we're all busy, and you're taking some time off of your daily basis. That means a lot to me. But before we move, uh, there was something that caught my attention on your biography, like on all the social media. So you have a man of God, you have a husband, a father, and then you have everything else. I'm a Christian, and that caught my attention a lot. Can you give us a little more insight of why that design, that order is very important? 'Cause for me, it's very important the order that you have it.
Yes, a great question. Thanks for asking. You know, we're really nothing without our faith in God. I think as an athlete, as a person, as a father, as a business person,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're into, you're only getting so far by yourself. And, it's arguably you won't get that far by yourself. Yeah, I think what I try to do, and, it's challenging, I think, for all of us is to stay Christ centered in everything. And that's a very difficult thing to do on a daily basis. I find myself reminding myself that it's not about me. It's not about anything else. It should be about serving the Lord. And I've been a Christian for many, many years. Um, but I think it has come to be more. Um, Understood by me as a Christian that of what that really means. I say in the last couple of years, and just seeing how important it is to stay rooted and grounded in faith. Um, to carry that a little bit further, the Lord gives us so many strengths.
Yes.
He gives us our abilities to communicate. He gives us our abilities to lift heavy weights and to
Yeah.
run miles and run fast. And for what? What are they for? Right?
Yeah.
You can speculate and say, "Well, it's because I've been given these gifts so that I can do fun things, or I can run fast, and I can maybe win first place in my age group, or if you're lucky enough, win a race." But what does that truly mean? And again, I think it's really important to realize, as an athlete, as a father, as a business person, as a professional, as a friend, all of these things are tools that have been given to us to serve God. So
Amen.
I always ask myself, how do I do that? Right? What am I doing that I should be serving God through my daily actions? And running has become an opportunity for me to connect with people,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and to serve and witness and be a part of conversations that I may not have ever had if it wasn't for running. And the last thing I'll say to this is, we've all, as an endurance athlete, I think we all find that place that we call hard. Like the difficult place that you go when you're pushing the limits and the boundaries are, just being maxed out. One can argue and say, well, I have strength and perseverance and the ability to overcome these obstacles because I'm tough. And maybe that's your way of explaining how you get through things. But for me, I find God in a lot of those circumstances. I find the opportunity to, really uh, connect my relationship with him. And if it's not asking for the support, and asking for God to get me through these tough times and the ability to be able to keep going, then it also might be the opportunity to rationalize how I got here in the first place.
Yes.
So that's really what that's all about. And for me, the order that I put them in is always God first, right? and
Yes.
and then the family comes next, and then everything else that is beyond that is a supporting detail to my life, and then who I am as a person and as a servant of the Lord.
Amen. Yes. I thought that was really really important. I've been serving the Lord for a couple of years now, and some people they might say, "Oh, God first," and they got father, and then they have a husband. But I think the order is really important because you and your wife are one. So I think it goes, man of God, then you're a husband, and then you're a father, and then everything else, like you said. So I thought it was really, really cool when I saw your biography on, I think it was on Instagram, and then I saw all the others,
It's
and you
right.
had the same man of God, and on every Wednesday. So I
It
think that was
has
really,
been. It's an opportunity to be combined with the one individual that is your best support system, besides the Lord, right? If it wasn't my wife Laura, as we all kind of joke and say, like, she puts up with my shenanigans, my desires, and running and all of the things. Um, she's such a huge supporter, and for me to be able to do the things that I do, and to use the talents that are God given. She's my ability, as a man. She has given me the opportunity to do that, and has made me a father,
that
as
is
well.
awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of credit goes to Laura, for a lot of things. So
Yeah, so some people they just see us running like on the start lineup, but they don't know what's
yeah,
behind, like all the hard work. Your wife dealing with you, going away for hours and then coming back home.
sure.
There's a
Yeah,
lot of.
yeah. This is every Saturday, right? Every I've got a long run. I have to go 15 mile. I have to go 20 miles, and the next question is, well, used to be, how long is that going to take you? And now it's understood. It's like, well, how many miles do you have? Okay, so I probably won't see you for 3 hours.
Have fun.
And so that backs up the day. We do runner's math all the time in the house. It's like, well, okay, well, I'm going to need 3 hours. I drive there. It's going to take 30 minutes. When I get done, it's going to take 30 minutes and then come home. So plan on 4 hours, and then I'll have to be at a soccer game at
Mhm.
9 o'clock. So we'll start pretty early. So,
Oh man. So before we go on to how you started running, can you share a
yeah.
little bit about performance? I think it's performance running purpose.
Yes. Yes.
Can you share a little bit
PPR.
how that started?
Yes. PPR is a faith based running group.
Mhm.
It started with a group of people that I had the opportunity and still have the opportunity to train and support. Performance purpose running is rooted in there's a purpose for our performance. Really,
Yeah.
that's what it
Yeah.
is all about. And as I mentioned, earlier about being a man of God, it's what is the point of all this anyway? Is the rhetorical question that we should be asking ourselves around our talents. And that seemed like a really good way to explain what it is that we're doing. We have these desires to be able to achieve goals, as athletes. We want to have a better time, or we want to run a specific distance and train for that. And that there is in lies the performance. I want to perform as the athletes, but what is the purpose behind my performance? Is something that really is the essence of what we try to live. And we started the group just sitting around a table, eating some carbs before one of the Gate River runs, and we started as a very small group of people that shared the same like around one being able to excel in sport, and then two, which I think is the most important, is being able to keep Christ in the center of everything that we're doing as we evolve ourselves. So that's performance purpose running.
That is awesome. Yeah, I always see it on Instagram. I always try to
Yeah.
click like and everything because I think it's cool what you guys are doing. It's really cool.
It's fun. We're having a good time. We've probably collected a group of 10 to 15 people have
Okay.
become part. It's a free group. It's just a group. It's a running group, and I think anytime I see any one of our athletes wearing a PPR jersey, it's exciting because people ask, like what is this all about? Like what's about God? You know,
Yeah,
it's about the Lord, and it's about the ability to be able to do what we do, and we think about the reasons behind it. So spread the word, and it's almost like the gospel means good news, right? That's what it is.
yes,
it's
sir.
it's the ability to be able to convey that. It's like, guys, this is what we're doing. This is why we're supposed to be doing it. There's a purpose for our performance.
Awesome. So when I go back to Jax, I might be joining you guys.
I
'Cause
love it. I mean,
yeah,
there's nothing you don't pay. There's nothing there with the shirts. We pay to have them printed, and people pay for them when they get them, and we do events. We line up and run these races on behalf of our little team that we have, and it's a great time. It's awesome. It's nice having a little family.
yeah, yeah. I thought that was really cool. So now, can you share us a little bit how you got into running? Is it like you've been running your whole life, or recently, or how did everything started?
Yes. Well, the answer around running, how I got there is probably not too different than a lot of other people. I've always been an athlete.
Mm.
I've been a competitive athlete all my life. I fluctuated in sports. I started very young, like 10 years old, as a competitive swimmer, an endurance swimmer, and went through school swimming and running track. I played a little football in there, but wasn't quite big enough to really, do well with it. So I was an independent sports guy. And I developed this sort of, really hard nosed, hard knuckled approach to the endurance side of sports.
Okay.
And I loved it. You know, I then got into uh, surfing. I
Mm.
thought that was a good opportunity to sort of branch out, and being in a structured sport, to get into, again, another independent activity that I challenged myself. I really immersed myself in the surf culture for a long time. And like running, you challenge yourself to become better. Um, every time you can. Most
Yes.
surfers, they want to improve their technique. They want to ride a more aggressive board. They want to go find bigger and better waves. They want to do competition. Lots of that was very similar. And the one aspect which I dearly love surfing, and I don't get a chance to do it much anymore because I've really just hyper absorbed myself in running. um, but the one thing that would hold me back always would be the inconsistent waves. Like they're not always here. They're not
Oh,
always here. So I would find myself relying on surf as my athletic output to stay fit for a long time, and things would begin to slip, and I didn't like it. So I'd pick up running again, and I would go through these stints to where I'd go and run, and I'd work my way up to, running the 5 and the 6 miles and stuff to stay fit. You do a fair bit of training for a lot of the heavy surf, especially when you go traveling to different countries with really, really, really good waves. It could be dangerous if you're not fit for it. So you go through a lot of that type of training, and running was a big part of that. And that was kind of a gateway where I relied on that as a secondary sport, in my 20s, and
okay.
really didn't do a whole lot of competition in running until later in my life. So as things evolved in my 30s and early 40s, you know, some of us may have had the experience where you let yourself go. and you sort of become unfit, and you focus,
Mm,
maybe you lose focus on a lot of the things that we should be focused on, like your health.
yeah,
And you fall into these traps. You're partying too much, you may be, drinking, or whatever that might be, or you're just not living healthy. And I think you can only do that for so long, and then all of a sudden there's a bell that kind of goes off and said, hey, this is not good, this is not what you should be doing. And for me, it was some blood work that came back
mm.
pretty bad. And I think that was probably just before I had turned 40. I'm 47 now.
Well, you look
You know,
younger than so you were like
it's
30 something, like I
it's a
don't know,
gift. It's a
35.
gift from the Lord. I don't know. I'm
I would
47
never guess you
now.
were 47.
It's a secret that I've just kept for a very long time. Um, yeah. So the blood work came back bad, and I decided, oh my gosh, I should probably do something about this, and changed everything drastically. Just overnight. One thing about myself, which if you haven't gotten this so far, if I decide to do something, I'm gonna do it. I am going
Yeah,
to do it, and I'm gonna do it to the best that I can. So I literally went plant based. I went, everything that I could possibly do to, get my health under control, and try to get some of these data points in a better,
yeah,
situation. And when I did that, I increased my exercise tremendously. I began focused on running, something more reliable than just waiting for, good surf. I'm out running, I'm pushing myself. And the opportunity to start signing up for local races seemed like a good plan. Like, let's go push myself. I'm physically getting better every single day. I'm challenging myself to, live a better and healthier life. Why not see what I can do, and see how far that I can take this? And it became a new passion when I ran my first competitive race in a very long time. I mean, it's probably, gosh, there was a period of, no, I don't know, 10, maybe 15 years in between the last time I had like run a competitive 5K and when I ran my next race, which was, I think, was a 10K bridge challenge here in Jacksonville. And I was hooked again. I'm like, wow, here it is. This is it. This is what I should be doing. And it became, I hate to use the word an addiction, but it kind of is. You're like,
yeah.
you want more of that. You want more of that. You want to have more of a, more of an experience. And as you naturally progress as an athlete,
Mhm.
and the things that you do to refine yourself and get better, it sort of lined up and gave me the opportunity to say, okay, we're going to focus on these things, and we're going to get better doing this, and we're going to set some new goals. So that was, I don't know, 6 years ago, um, is when I began to really focus on competition
Okay,
again. And then it really took off after that.
nice. Yeah, like you say, it's kind of like an addiction. Once you try
Yeah.
it, you want more and more. Like I like to compete, and I used to play soccer, but
Yeah.
like you said, I stopped getting fit, and I wasn't performing well. And then I started running, and I was like, maybe I'm just gonna stay in running. And then I started hitting some times, and I was like, maybe I want to improve a little bit more and more and more. And now I'm here, like trying to improve every time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all have that desire as athletes. We just want to push ourselves.
Yeah,
At least all the good athletes do, anyway.
yeah. And I think running is there's always somebody better than you, I guess, and you can always be like, oh man, I'm gonna catch up to that guy. Then you catch up to that guy, and you're like, oh man, there's
Yeah.
another guy. So it's like a
Yeah.
never-ending
Right.
game. There's always somebody better that you gotta catch up. So I love the
Agreed.
part of competing. I like to compete. I don't like to lose. So I think running
Yes.
is the best sport for that on a healthy
Agreed.
way.
That's
Yeah,
right. I
yeah. Can
agree.
you
Yep.
share us a little bit about your weekly routine, like how you structure your training
Oh,
for?
yes. Yes, sure. You know, my week is I'm a 6 day, 7 day a weeker. And some people say that's crazy, and it might be.
Mm,
But I sort of manage through that on different ways. I'm also a coach, and I don't coach
okay.
myself. I have a coach. I highly recommend having a personal coach.
Yeah.
Um, our,
Very.
our coaching platform is called Straight Speed, and
Okay.
my coach, Chris Straight, is a VVO2 certified coach. I'm a VVO2 certified coach, and it really focuses on the scientific aspects of um, being able to maximize one's capabilities and
Mhm.
then paying attention to a recovery, right? And there's
Okay.
there's two things going on in there that are super important to make sure when you're planning out someone's week that you're paying very close attention to. um, so I generally plan to run 5 days a week,
Okay.
and a lot of those days, they're not the same days every week. I do try to stick to a program where I sandwich a lot of my work together in the middle of the week, where you're doing like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Thursday. And in the middle of that, something really hard,
Okay.
like your speed days and um, your track days or the hard efforts where you're doing interval training in between there. And on the front and the back of that's when you can do things, we'll call that more of your recovery days. And some people, their body functions, everyone's different. Some people
Yes.
need to recover, and they don't want to do anything, right? Like they don't want to run, they maybe go for a walk, maybe not even go for a walk. They just need that time to be able to recover. Personally, I'm better if I'm moving my body, and I prefer to do things like cycle, like an indoor
Okay.
cycle routine where I'll cycle for an hour, hour and a half at a time. Um, and it's easy. You're not pushing the limits, you're moving the blood in the body, but you're still getting that recovery and endurance gain, but you're really not pushing your body to a limit where you're going to experience any unnecessary fatigue. You do less you do less damage when you actually ask your body to do active recovery, um, than you do when you're just pushing the limits to go and run all over the week. So in the middle of the week is reserved for easy runs. I'll do a hard effort in the dead in the middle on the Wednesdays. Thursday's an easy run day. Friday's a recovery day. And then Saturdays are long run days. I usually do my work early in the morning, depending on what's going on and what I'm training for, what block I'm in. Long runs or anything over 10 miles, right? It could be 10, could be 12, could be 15, could be 18, whatever it
Yeah.
is. You're, looking for a marathon or whatever distance that's going to be the demander. And then Sunday is a recovery day where I will generally do active recovery as well. And it's usually going to be at this stage, I'll do a few miles, 4, 5 miles, no more than 6 miles at a very easy pace, zone two kind of heart rate or below, where I'm just getting that blood, that oxygenated blood through the body to recover from any kind of damage or growth that has occurred from the
Yeah.
previous week's training.
So yeah, the reason I'm asking because when I started running, I didn't know anything about running. I didn't. I started in
Yeah.
high school. and I didn't even know there was a cross country team. I didn't know people run as a sport. Because in my home
Yeah.
country, we just play soccer. So when I started running,
Yeah.
I didn't really know how to structure my weekly. I didn't know there was speed workouts. I didn't know there was like easy runs. I
Mhm.
just went out and started jogging. So that's the reason
Yeah.
I asked it.
I mean,
And
that's pretty standard for people that are getting into the sport, and actually that's why I became a coach.
mm,
Really, that's the only reason I wanted to become a coach. Like, it's probably the most important thing, I think, that I can offer uh, athletes that are getting into it is some structure and understanding that there is, a way to do this, so that you don't damage yourself,
yeah.
and you're not looking at a situation where you're gonna run into a problem for doing too much too soon. And I think
Mm,
that's what happens to a lot of people. I'm going to turn this light on because it might get
yeah,
dark, but real
you're
quick,
good.
just turn this light on so that we can keep that going. Um, yeah. On that note, I have many examples of when people they want to start running, and whether or not they ask you for help or not, they get out, like you said, they start running, they get out, they start pushing themselves, and they run too fast. They run too
Yeah,
fast. They're running at like a tempo rate or even a threshold rate, and their common feedback is, "Oh gosh, I can only get mile in or 2 miles in, and then I just don't have it anymore. I don't have the stamina." And the minute that you start explaining, well, you're running too fast, it becomes
yeah.
an ego problem for
That
them.
happened to me
And
recently, like 2 weeks ago. I was going too
yeah,
fast, and then my friend called me. I was like, "Yeah, you might want to slow down." I was like, "Okay,"
yeah,
but I was
yeah,
humble enough to listen to him.
that's the number one thing I think that gets everybody is the ego. It's like everybody wants to run fast, and I think
Mm,
as you were getting into the sport, you want to you want to experience that. Like, oh, I can run fast. Look at me. Look at this time, or look how fast I ran this. I'm doing 7 15-minute miles, but you're not doing 7 15 minutes for very long if you haven't been
yeah,
trained to be able to
sure.
do it. So it's starting, in the slow, and it's the most difficult thing that you can ever do is run in your easy pace when you just get started. I mean, I'm talking like 12 people that just don't
Mhm.
run, right? They're getting into, we're talking 12-minute miles to 13-minute miles. And they look at you like, are you crazy? This is like walking.
Yeah,
And yeah, it is. It is. It's exactly what's happening. I mean, but you have to start here to get where you want to be and then sustain that endurance. And so
yes,
it's an ego thing that you kind of have to get over. That's what I tell my athletes all the time. Like, look, you got to lose the ego. You got to get rid of it. You got to leave that at home when you step out the door and concentrate on the mission, which is here's my pace range and this is where I need to stay.
yeah.
So,
Another thing that happened to me was I was like signing up for every weekend, like a 5K, and I wanted to PR every weekend. And I got
beautiful.
burned
Yeah.
out. I was frustrated because I wasn't improving. I was going worse than when I started. And then I was like, no,
Yeah.
there's got to be something else. So I started training for a specific race, and then I was like, maybe I can PR on that race. And then after that, everything
That's
changed because I wasn't running every weekend to PR.
That's very wise. And it's a common thing. You see people all the time. I see people out of our races. They're racing every weekend or, every other week. They're signing up and trying to go out and PR and stuff. Um, I tell our philosophy at Straight Speed and what we do in our coaching methodology is we will race, um, really should be racing no more than 45 to 60 days, when we're actually trying to go for a PR or in a serious effort to make a drastic improvement in time. And depending on what your race is, it could be longer than that, right? And
Oh
so,
yeah.
you're not going to go out and run. a PR in a marathon, and then 45 days later, you're probably not going to do much better
Oh yeah,
than what
definitely.
you already had. So, and the same thing could be applied for 5Ks and 10Ks. You might get a little bit better. You might knock off a few seconds or here or there. But if you really want to see
Yeah.
drastic improvement, your recovery time and your training time has to have the time to work, right? You have to be able to build the steps of your endurance, and you have to be able to shed the fatigue that you carry through the training. And if you're racing, all you're doing is creating fatigue. You're
Oh
carrying
yeah.
that fatigue into a training week, right? And your training week is already blasted. I got to go do these hard efforts on Wednesdays. You got to go do the interval paces, but you just ran the fastest that you could run for 3, maybe 6 miles.
Hmm.
That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, you gotta
To that
recover.
point, you got to recover. To that point, like, you shouldn't be doing any really hard efforts. You should be doing no more than two a week, right? Two training sessions a week, and that's sometimes a lot, right? I think
Yeah.
one for most people, one really hard effort through the week is good. When you start doing two, you want to change the way that effort looks and sort of stretch it out. But again, you're carrying that fatigue, and it just mounds up and it mounds up and it mounds up. And before you know it, you're going to get an injury. You're going to get a problem with your hamstring, or you're going to get a problem with your tendons or your
Yep.
Achilles, or stress fractures,
I
something
already
crazy
went
like
through
that.
all of that.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
through all of that when I started running, so I kind of have an idea of what to do now.
Yeah. Right.
But
So we all learn the hard way, right?
yeah, yeah. Another question is: Have you or what's the hardest part of about running for you? Like for me, it's about doing long runs by myself. That's like it's really tough. So, what is yours? Like, what's your toughest part about running?
Hmm. Oh, I this is the tough one. I think I could fight myself on this a little bit. Uh, well, I think the toughest part about running is controlling myself.
Okay.
Which is, you can go a lot of different directions here, but I think we were just talking about a pretty good topic where we want to be, we want to be faster. We want to run faster paces. We want to PR all the time. We want to do more. We want to excel, and that's kind of the natural desires of an athlete. I catch myself all the time pushing the limits,
Okay.
just like everybody else. It's like that person who wants to go run a race every
Every
weekend
weekend.
or every other weekend. It's the same philosophy. It's like, okay, well, I'll just sneak up a little bit higher than my pace range, and I'll just do this tempo run, and it happens. And I'll make an excuse. Oh, it's just this one training run, and then that one will lead to another, and that one will lead to another. So I think controlling myself and staying focused
Mm.
on the things that I need to stay focused on is the hardest thing for me. Getting
Yeah.
up out of bed and pushing myself to go do the work is not the hardest thing.
Yeah, I don't think I have an
That's
issue with that either.
discipline,
Yeah, but
but
yeah, for me it's
controlling
like
myself is it.
yeah, for me it's like running by myself on the long distance. But also, like you said, I struggle a lot before with pacing myself. Like I either sometimes I
Yeah,
start too fast, sometimes start too slow. I don't go with my whatever I have
sure.
planned before the race. So that's tough.
Yes, yeah.
Have you ever thought of quitting running, or it never happened?
Uh,
To me, it's like
I mean, I
every
think we
time.
all,
Yeah,
yeah, I think we all go through those moments, right, where we're like,
I was
"This
like,
is
what am I
terrible. What am
doing
I
here?
doing?"
Why am I up
Yeah,
so early?
yeah. I think there's too much good that comes from it. I always convince myself like that's dumb. No, I'm not going to quit. I never really quit anything. I have to be quit on. I think so it's really tough for me to give up. Uh, I haven't had any desires recently. in the middle of an incredible effort, some long distance stuff, like like an ultra, right? You do something past marathon distance, and even marathon distance. Marathon distance is a really that's a really that's a grinder. If for a lot of if you've
Yeah,
never done that before, even if you've done it before, like I don't care. Unless you're someone who just trains for the distance every day and you're a professional athlete, like it's tough. That is a tough race.
it
So
is.
you think about that, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna go do a 50K, or a 50 miler. When you get into the middle of something that's longer than that marathon distance, and you sort of lose yourself, and you kind of go into this strange place of I'm just trudging along, trying to get through the motions. Sometimes you want to quit. Yeah, that's when you kind of want to, like, this is
Mm,
dumb. Like, why am I doing this to myself?
yeah, I
Um,
think it's more of a
but
question in yourself. Like, what am I doing? What am I? You
yeah,
know, I'm tired. I should be home.
yeah, this is terrible. Everything inside of me hurts. I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. Um, but I think the fire always comes back and it pushes me to keep going. I think honestly what that is I am going to be more disappointed in myself that I let myself down. Um, and I don't want to experience that. I've done that before. Like I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to stop in the middle of a workout. It's no different when you stop in the middle of a race. It's like the worst feeling because you think back on it and you're thinking, well, I didn't have to stop.
Yeah,
I didn't have to stop. I could have kept going. That's the worst feeling ever, and I hate it. I don't want to feel that. And you talk to athletes, and like I had this one athlete for the longest time, and he's so talented, incredibly fast, and his goal was to be sub 18, and he would stop in the middle of a race, in the middle of a hard effort, like, and walk. And why did you do that? It felt so bad. I just had to stop. But why? I don't know. And he would beat himself up. Like, I know I shouldn't have done it. I know I shouldn't do it. For me, I never want to experience that ever. I
yeah,
never want to have to think about that and say I did that to myself because I'm the one in control. I can control whether or not I stop. I can control whether or not I had that emotion that I feel because I will keep going. I will
yeah.
keep
I
going.
I feel the same. I feel like I don't know if I ever stop, I'm gonna feel embarrassed or something. 'Cause,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever
I
it
feel if
takes,
I
right?
when I'm feeling like I want to stop, I just push, push. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna stop.
Yeah, that's
But
when the best training occurs. The best training occurs when you're at the point of complete burnout and exhaustion. You're not only training your physical condition, like you're training your physical condition to be able to just push through it and like, oh, I'm gonna be stronger, my legs are gonna be stronger, you know but you're also training your mind, and you're training your mind not to give up. And if you know anything about the physiology of running and like basically the chemical release that happens when you do good things, like you're flooded with serotonin and all the things that are good, when you achieve certain things. Well, the same thing happens when you stop, right? And believe it or not, like you think, oh, I did it. I crossed the finish line, or I ran the 5K, or I ran the marathon. I mean, that's just an amazing emotion, flooded with serotonin. Well, think about the moment that you stop in the middle of a hard effort. How good does that feel for a moment? Like, you may not feel the exact same thing, but you're rewarding yourself by saying, "Oh, I don't have to experience this pain anymore." Right? So the more that you do that, you're training your mind to feel like I can do this and let myself feel this reward.
mm,
And in some way, you're just setting yourself up for failure every single time that you allow yourself to stop.
yeah, makes
Um,
sense.
so, if you deny yourself of that, you don't want it. You don't desire it.
Hmm, that's a good point. I never thought of that way, but now that you explain it like that, it makes sense. So,
Yeah.
I know we talk about how you started running. We talk about your training. Now, what motivates you to continue running? I know we talk a little. I think we might have talked a little about it, but what motivates you to continue? Like, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
Well, a lot. A lot. One is I want to stay healthy. And, I'm at 47 years old. I've never been faster. I've never been more physically fit. Um, I've never felt so alive. To start, I feel like I want to continue that. I want that to stick around. Um, I want to set a good example, for my children.
Okay.
I have a 13-year-old son that's he's in the running community from time to time. He'll come in and he's incredible. He at the age of was he even was he even 13? I don't know. He might have been just turned 13. He ran a half marathon without any training.
Wow.
You know, he's run the gate a couple times. He's many 5Ks, 10Ks, and he doesn't even like running.
Hmm. Imagine if he does
It's
like
just,
running.
exactly. It's right. So I want to be able to continue to set the example for him, my daughter, and staying active and just pushing the limit. If it's not running, it's actually setting an example to do hard things. You
Okay.
know, you may not, maybe this is not for you or anybody else, but the message of I can accomplish hard things is pretty loud when you're doing these kind of things, and you can use running in a lot of different environments. You can take what we learn and what we talk about commitment for yourself, commitment to the team, commitment to the plan, and you can apply that same logic to professional life, your professional life at work, your even your marriage, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to do any of these things because this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
This is what I signed up for. Like, this is my mission. This is my job. No matter how hard it gets, I want to push forward. So for me, it's like this is what I want to continue to do to demonstrate how to continue to push through tough things as well. As a father, as a leader, as a friend, I like it. But moreover, I've begun to see a connection with people in the community that aligns with what we started talking about in the very first part of our conversation, which is around God and around Christ. Um, I never imagined that when I started running. The day that I got out there, like, hey, I'm going to start running again and I'm going to go do this. I didn't think about, well, maybe this is an opportunity to have a conversation about the Lord. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that at all. Um, but I've seen how it happens. You're on a long run. You're sharing fellowship with your friends. You're talking about experiences, endurances, and the bonding that takes place is really incredible. Like, I really cherish a lot of these moments that I have had, and so I want to continue to have them and hopefully make a positive impact
Yeah.
on many.
Yeah. I think everything we do is for the Lord. So, if we're running, we should do it for the Lord. So I think it's a great way to spread the gospel. Yeah. I
Agreed.
never thought of that way too, but talking to people make some stuff make sense. Like now talking to you, some stuff are coming to my head, making sense.
Yeah. Right.
So, do you
Yep.
have any goals in the long run, or what's are your goals like for your future in the running
You
business?
know, I yes, I mean, like, so from races and things like that. I mean, that's very, I'd say, topical, right? Like, surface level. I mean, I'll be qualified for Chicago by this year. I'll be running Chicago.
That's awesome. I always want to do a major. I haven't done it yet, but it's on
Yeah,
my long-term goals running all the majors. So that is
Yeah,
awesome.
say yep, I got that this year, got qualified for Chicago, so I'll be doing that one in October. I'm qualified for Boston for
Nice.
2027. So I'll be submitting an application for that race as soon as it opens. I think I stand a pretty good chance for it. I think I got about 8 minutes for a buffer on that. So
Okay, that is
yeah, I'm
awesome.
pretty excited to see that one
I,
happen.
yeah, I can't wait to
Um,
see you getting the plaque with all the seven. I think they added
yeah,
one more, right? One more major
they did. Yeah,
for
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there's some really tough times. Like it's not easy. I
so
saw
that's
some of
why
the
it's
ones
worth
like
it.
I think some of them are very tough. My next goal, marathon goal time, besides just running the race, is to go sub 3 hours. And I think it's there. I think I'm pretty close. You know, this year, my plan is to halfway through the year. I usually treat a half marathon as like a benchmark where I'll do the workup through the year, do the half marathon. Goals to go sub 122 in the half marathon, try to get into like 121 something, and that's a really good indicator, right? Like if you can
Yeah,
do that and say
that's fast.
May or June, then you can likely show up to the game and run a sub 3 race, depending on the
Okay.
course. So that's that's the goals as far as races and times.
Well, I hope you can
You know,
achieve
I
them. I'll be cheering for you.
you know if I don't, it's part of the process, right? So it's
Yeah,
like it's
well,
something I want. I'm going to
you
shoot
don't
for
then
it. I
try it again until you get it.
Exactly. And you know what? I've also learned something. I think this year and year probably over the course of last year is it depends how you approach the effort a lot. You know, you can approach the effort as I'd like to do this. I hope I do this. Or you can approach the effort and convince yourself with conviction and you will do this. I mean, there's a big difference in going into a fight of maybe versus I will. There's so much
Yeah,
power in our in our speech, in our voice. There's so much power as a as a human. I think God gives us this, right? Like we can speak things into conviction. I will do this. And if you carry that to the fight and you're truly convinced that you will do this, when it gets hard, that carries you through. That will push you through. That conviction will carry you through. So yeah, you just got to work on staying in that mindset and treat your goals as if they're not just things that you want to achieve, they're things that you will achieve.
yeah. I guess if you put it that way, then makes more sense now. Well, I
Yeah.
forgot to ask you: Are you you're in the military or have military background?
Yeah, I was in the Coast Guard. I yeah enjoyed that. I was local here in Jacksonville for a very long time as an auxiliary officer. Had a lot of time doing search and rescue and local
Mm.
things here, ports and waterway security. That was great. I enjoyed it. It was
Oh,
another opportunity that sort of paid back big time of being on the water, number one, and then and serving our country, and an opportunity to be able to impact people positively. Just absolutely loved it.
that is awesome. I'm pretty sure you kind of got that discipline from the Coast Guard and transferred it to the running, right? Because I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
there's a
you
lot
guys
of
a lot of discipline in
perseverance and
there.
endurance, a lot of discipline. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Awesome. So now I got a little segment. You probably already answered some of those questions, but I think it's a fun segment, like rapid questions.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you do road or trail? Which one you prefer?
Road,
Road. Okay. Morning
but
or midnight?
I may change that next year. Who knows? I don't know. Right now, road.
Okay. So are you better at mornings or evenings? I think you say you do mornings when you're running.
Mornings for
Morning.
sure.
Okay. Do you like music or you're silent when you're running?
Ooh, I go both ways. Personally, I think I'll the silence wins. Silence wins.
Silent. I agree.
Hmm.
Mostly I listen to like podcasts or, but when I'm doing like a speed workout, I like to concentrate. I don't like anything on my ears, nothing. Because I
Yeah, a
feel
lot
that
of
if I have,
times
yeah.
cadence. I just listen to the cadence, and you just get kind of zoned in. I tell people sometimes my head is loud enough that
Mm,
I don't need any music. It's yelling at me all the time. So if I listen to my thoughts, and I use that sometimes to get close to God as well, I use that as an opportunity to have some connection and prayer as
okay.
I'm out running. So that is a good way to do that.
All right. Um, One more question. What's one race that you will never forget that you done so far?
Ooh, all of them? No.
And
um, I don't know. Let's see. Ooh, God, that's a tough one. It really
it has to be one.
is.
Like, for example, mine was last year the river run.
Yeah,
That's the one that I don't know. I felt really good on that race,
yeah.
and I was able to
You
get a
know, I
hat. So,
I love that. Yeah, congrats.
yeah.
That's awesome. Love it. Yeah, 10
So
percenter.
I'll never
Good
forget
for
that.
you.
It was my first one.
Love that. Yeah, that's huge. My first time I got a hat, I didn't even know that it was a thing. I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
thanks for the hat. I had no
Oh
idea
man!
it was. I was like, "What are these
And,
hats for?" I got a hat. The guy gave me a hat. I was like, "Cool, that's awesome."
and then you have like people like trying like four
Yeah.
years in a row and they still can't get it, and you're like, oh, I just got it.
I just didn't know anything about it. I didn't really. Yeah, but you know what? To your question, the answer to the question is, I ran a 50K here in Jacksonville one time. That it was um the not the Whistling Death, the Hellcat 50K. And it
Mm,
was out in a military base out in Green Cove Springs. I think the reason I ran it is because I didn't hit my marathon time when I ran a marathon about a month earlier. So I was angry, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go run this 50K. Uh, I ran. You know, it was a really tough race. It was like loops on the course. It was 10K loops. I had already run 4 loops, and my son was standing there waiting for me on the fifth loop. And by I think this point in time, he's probably 11, maybe. And he just starts running with me. And
oh,
he's like, all right, let's go, dad. Let's go. And I'm like, all right, buddy. I'm in tears. I'm thinking, oh, it's my 11-year-old son. He's with me. It's going to be, oh, this is so cool. And I'm thinking, I got to go way out here in this swamp and in the mud on the
yeah.
backside. I didn't even think about how far he was going to go. I was just waiting for him to turn around. And I don't even know if I probably went maybe 400 yards. I'm like, all right, buddy, just head on back. I'll be back in a minute. I'll see you at the finish line. He said, no, what are you talking about? I'm going to finish this race with you.
Mm,
And I was like, no, dude, I have to run 6 miles. You haven't even been running. Like, what are you talking about? He's no, I'm going to go with you, dad. I'm going to finish this race with you. I'm going to pace you all the way through it. So it blew me away. And of course, at this point, I don't know, you're, almost 30, probably 28 miles into this thing. And I'm thinking, oh God, what an amazing experience that little guy hung with me for the entire last 10K of that race. And you would have talked about one, I was super proud that he did it. And then two, I was like, this is an incredible experience that I can always cherish. And so will he as a father. At that time, the hardest thing that I have ever done in my running career, life, whatever, physical exhaustion setting in. And here he was ushering me through that moment in time to get me to the finish line. That's probably the one, and I think back through those emotions. I will never forget that. He definitely was a major part of it. And I will always think about how hard that was. And that will be a shining light for me for sure.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'm a father too. I have a little girl and a little kid that we just had like 3 weeks ago. So I can't wait to get
Ah,
to those moments where
congrats.
appreciate it.
Congrats, man. That's such an
I
awesome experience.
I
It
can't
is.
wait for those moments where they're like at the finish line or they're running with me. I think I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome.
It's a gift. It is. The Lord gives us these opportunities to be a father, gives us an opportunity to be, um, a friend to a lot of people. But being a father is incredibly important. I think, the thing you hear sometimes with people, you can't really take, your belongings to heaven. You can't take anything to heaven, but you sure take your family, and that's the one thing that we should be doing is making sure that they're going to be with us along the way. That's a heck of a duty that we've been given, but it is an amazing experience to watch them go through their life for sure.
Yes, I'm experienced that already, and I think it's awesome. So, any message that you want to give new runners or and in general, any message you want to give to the world?
Yeah, I think just in summary, it's hard. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy, but that's what makes it great. And that's what makes it so rewarding is because it's hard. And it's easy for us to forget that when we kind of get into the hard training blocks, or maybe it's at 4 a.m. and you got to wake up and get it done before work. There's plenty of excuses. I mean, there's so many excuses, countless. I mean, you go on and on and on and on. Yeah. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be challenging. It's always going to be difficult. And there's always going to be an excuse. But the reasons that we are doing what we do, and we have a gift to be able to do it. And yes, everybody can run. Everybody can run, right? Everybody can do it. It's up to you to push yourself to be able to experience growth. Really is. To be able to use the talents that God gave us, and do that for Him. And I think that's
Mhm.
kind of in summary of the theme of the call is find a way to make it not about yourself, and you'll go far, right? You find a way to make it about our Creator in our Lord Jesus Christ. If you find a way to bring Him along for the ride in your shoes, I use that saying a lot. Jesus, get in my shoes. If you find a way to put Jesus in your shoes, there's no stopping you.
Oh yeah,
It really isn't,
I agree on that one. Yeah. So,
for sure.
Paul, where can people follow you? Instagram, Facebook, or
Yeah, sure. Instagram, Paulie D Outdoors is my Instagram handle. That's my personal Instagram handle. That's also where you can pick up Straight Speed Coaching. Straightspeed.com is our coaching site. We've got about four coaches, soon to be five across the U.S. So it doesn't matter where you're at, virtual is kind of how we work, anywhere and everywhere, and it's tailored to you specifically. And I'm Paul Davis on Facebook here in Jacksonville, Florida. Um, and yeah, that's about it. Also, actually, the PPR is performance purpose running, also with a separate Instagram account. That's performance purpose running PPR. Follow us there, and you can see kind of what we're doing as athletes. You can see people training for various distances and doing hard things and all that, all the stuff we talked about.
that is awesome. Paul, I want to thank you for taking your time. I know, like I said, we're busy. You're a father, I'm a father. We have things to do, but I appreciate you taking some time off and share with me. There was a lot that I learned from you just in this little, it's not a little talk, but I learned a lot with, the way you put stuff, how we do running for the Lord and all this kind of stuff. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, I wish you the best. I hope you qualify for all your majors. and I hope PPR continues to grow, and hopefully one day I'll join when I go back to
Oh,
Jack.
we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. I mean, please do. Just reach out and let's bring you on. We'd love to have you
Yeah.
represent us there in O Town for sure. But thanks. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, this is a pleasure, man. Thank you again, and hopefully we'll do it again. All
Sounds
right, man.
good. I'm ready.
This was Miles and Stories. So thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Yanni.